subscribers. Well, subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe if I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC 273 live from Jacksonville, Florida. Everyone's favorite spot in Florida, right? Definitely not. What a card. What a card we have this weekend. Some heavily favored, juiced, 3 top fights are all heavily favored. We'll take a look at those, see what we can do with them. I'll be breaking down the main card like usual, guys. Guys, before we get into everything, follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's System Capping. Simple enough. System Capping, Instagram and Twitter. Free plays, weekly updates, sports betting news, sports news in general. Find them in the stories. Definitely follow me there. I am continuing to grow each and every day. Finally cracked that YouTube algorithm, guys. It seems like I'm getting a lot more views, so I do thank you guys for tuning in. I've been grinding away for three and a half years on these videos. Now I'm starting to get a lot more views, a little more recognition, so I do thank you guys for that. Off last week, of course, no UFC card last week, but we'll do a quick recap from UFC Columbus. It was another profitable card. It was a good card for myself, clients, and free video viewers as well. Should have been a 4-0 card. We did get screwed with the Matt Brown. Sure, it was a toss-up fight, but I think Brown did enough with the grappling and the wrestling, and he should have won that fight, especially being at home as well. So I did have Brown to win that fight. Would have been 4-0, but I'll take 3-1 any day of the week. We had an easy win with Blades. We had him parlay with Latifi, however that fight fell through. A couple nice decision wins we had. We had a Magny decision win, a Farrow decision win. Full unit plays there, so it was a good weekend, good card overall a couple of weeks ago. We're going to get right back on track with a big card this weekend. If you guys listen to the video, you may have also attacked the Kaya France plus 300. I gave that out to you guys for free. And if you're going to bet that fight, that was the only way to bet that fight. You're never going to lay that big minus price with Askarov, a guy who was, coming off an injury, hasn't fought for a while, and Askarov and Kaya France was on a tear as of late. So good value there at plus 300. Let's get into the weekly updates, guys. Weekly updates, all sports. Let's get into those. UFC, the run continues. Great run here. 28-9 client run all fights. 79%, guys. 79% run. And longer term, which is the more impressive longer term run, is 85-44 long term. That's 66%. 65% best bets over 3 years. Overall 52 units profit. PGA 68% best bets. That's 3 years, guys. 3 years as well. A little less than 3 years, actually. And we have 2 pending best bets for the Masters. If you want that card and you're viewing this video on Wednesday, feel free to head over to my website, systemsportscapping.com, to get that full betting card. It's a big one. 68 units. 68 units. A bit of regression in the PGA the past few cards, but we are still 6 out of the last 10 cards profitable. NBA, we were on an 8-0 run, and we went back-to-back losses in the NBA. 8-2 run, 46-23, 67% plus 15.5 units. NHL is also solid, lower volume in the NHL. Hard to pick spots in the NHL when the lines are minus 200 every week or every day, but 31-17, 65% lower volume. Let's look at the NFL reminder. Guys. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into the main card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Guys,
systemsportscapping.com to get my full personal plays, all my personal plays in all sports. We bet 6 to 7 sports over here at System Sports Capping, profitable in all sports. UFC 273, you can get the full card. You can get the Masters card if you get in quickly before Thursday. You can get all my sports betting client plays just through email, detailed email descriptions on why I like to play unit size and everything. 5% of the market profits long-term. System is one of them. Guys, I'm going to get into the main card now. Shop around for the best price. Shop around for the best price. It's not the best price. This is posted throughout the week. So you're going to have to shop around. Some lines are going up. Some lines are going down. We are going to have to shop around, especially with big numbers, especially in these first 3 fights. Not the best card to bet on, to be honest, guys. We have some great fights, but it just posted so highly. The numbers are trying to buy you out of the fights. Let's get into them. Volkanovski minus 700 versus Korean Zombie plus 500. Before I get into this, guys, hit the like button. Hit the like button for me. It helps me out a lot. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. It also helps me out a lot as well. You'll get updated videos. They'll let you know before the fight. You should be watching these videos before you make those bets. Volkanovski minus 700. I see some minus 800. I see some 750s. You got to shop around. Graphic here says 700. Versus Korean Zombie plus 500. You can get some 550s out there as well. Talk about zero respect. This is a classic. This is a classic. Zero respect to the veteran Korean Zombie. You know, I personally think the line's off a bit. You know, not a ton. I would maybe put more at maybe Volkanovski minus 500, minus 450. There's nothing that shows me that Volk's going to lose a fight, right? And it's not the best matchup for Zombie. You know, I do think Volk wins this fight, but it's just how are we going to bet it, right? How are you going to bet this fight at minus 700? It's crazy. It's out of hand here, right? Obviously, there is some value with Zombie, and he is getting another chance at that belt. If he loses this fight, I don't see him getting another shot, right? He's a little older. He had that shot already before. It's just, I don't think he'll get it again if he loses this fight, unless he stays and still wants to fight and goes on like a crazy 2 or 3 win, streak. And it depends how Volkanovski beats him, right? How is it going to look? He did some training with Henry Cejudo. Keep that in mind. Henry Cejudo is building some champions over there in Arizona. Very exciting to watch for Cejudo. He definitely probably work on some wrestling in this one. And, Henry really building someone over there, bringing in Figueiredo, won him the title. John Jones is over there. Yuri Prohaska's even there. So that's interesting. Interesting to see what he's doing there. We saw Volk get a bit exposed into grappling versus Ortega, right? That's where I think you can expose him. Now, he's a great, Volkanovski's a great wrestler, great grappler, but Ortega was able to find some submission attempts. However, he just won't quit Volkanovski. What an impressive get out of that choke. It was deep, guys. It was deep, and he showed that he can go in deep waters. That's what we really haven't seen for Volkanovski. We've seen Volkanovski fight 5 rounds, but those max fights, I wouldn't say they're deep waters. I would just say he got into a striking battle for 5 rounds. He showed in that Ortega fight that he could get into deep chokes, deep scenarios, deep waters, and last and get out of that. I still don't know how he got out of that. It was crazy, and he's just showing his toughness and all-around championship mentality. Right, we know Zombie has those chokes. We know he's great on the ground. He has a very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, and maybe I would favor him there if it was just a BJJ fight, but it's not. Right? I can see Volkanovski taking down Zombie fairly easily if he decides to go that path. However, I don't know if he wants to risk it. I don't know if he would want to risk it because of Zombie working off his back. Right? I think that's Zombie's only chance here is to find a submission. Right? If he stands and bangs with Zombie for 5 rounds, that's what I think Volkanovski probably wants to do. I think he'll just win on points like he always does. He'll outstrike him. He'll land the bigger shots. And I do think Volkanovski also going to take him down and ground and pound him. He can ground and pound him here. Volkanovski time and time again keeps saying, I want to finish a fight. I want to finish a fight, but he keeps going to decisions. Is this the time that he finishes the fight? Definitely be interesting. Stylistically, Volk is just better everywhere, I think. On the feet, better wrestler, and maybe give the submission game to Zombie. I just expect Volk to be sharper on the feet, outscore Zombie on the cards. We still haven't seen that finish from Volk, but I think it could come here. It's just tough because Zombie, he's a tough son of a gun, right? He can take the shots. He can take the damage. So I think it's more of a flip of a coin, and that's where it's personally hard for me to get to an outcome bet here. It's hard, right? You're going to have to pay for Volk on a decision, minus 150. I don't feel like paying minus 150 for Volk by decision. Just because I know he's going to be pressuring and looking for that finish. All he hears and time again, you can't finish someone. You can't finish someone. You're just winning decisions. Boring fights. Definitely not boring fights. I don't agree with that. Obviously, that Ortega fight, the Max fight, I don't think they're boring wins. I think it's a good competitive fight. But for some people, they want to see that finish. This is a chance here to get that finish, and he could get it here. He could get it here, and you're going to get value at plus money. If I had to bet this fight, obviously Volk on the money line, but I'm not going to give that out. Anyone could see that, especially when it's so high. I don't even suggest to put it in a parlay. It's going to have to be, just because I haven't seen it, it's going to have to be just Volkanovski on the scorecards. It's just going to have to be him beating Korean Zombie, being quicker in there, maybe even mixing in some takedowns, some grappling against the cage. I expect Zombie to hang around and maybe take a beating in this fight like Ortega did, and just take the punishment, and Volk just gets his hand raised and keeps that belt at the end of this one. But I'm excited for this fight. See what Korean Zombie has for Volkanovski, and see if he can catch him maybe in that submission, but I do think it's a long shot. Next fight here, I'm excited for this one. Jan minus 500. Jan minus 500 versus Sterling plus 380. Again, the lines may have moved on this one. Check out Jan's message to Sterling on MMA Hour.
If we will talk with chicken, with clone Sterling, I kill him. Yes. It will better how it was last time. Last time he cried.
How do you bet against
fight,
that?
He don't will cry.
How do you bet against
sleep.
that? I put that on my Instagram story. Actually, I tagged Ariel, and Ariel actually retweeted it. Or reposted on Instagram. So that was pretty cool. Got a bunch more followers because he actually reposted it. So shout out to Ariel. Obviously there is some value here on Sterling. I just can't bet against Jan. I just can't do it, right? Personally, the only way I see how Sterling wins this fight is catches him in a choke like he did against Sandhagen, right? If Jan decides to maybe take him down and Sterling pulls a quick choke, but I just don't see Jan tapping. Jan would have to go to sleep, and it's just low odds, right? It's low odds. If this fight stays standing, Jan outstrikes him, outboxes him, and outkickboxes him, right? Sterling's striking's all over the place. It's not sharp. It is kind of awkward, and he can move a lot. He can move, it could come different angles, shots, but Jan's just a better striker all around. And in that first fight, Sterling wasn't really the better wrestler. I think he got him down maybe once, but Jan bounced back up very quickly, and Jan got a bunch of takedowns as well. Jan's just a complete fighter. There's no holes in his game. He has the cardio to last with Sterling. We saw Sterling gas out in that fight. His excuses, blah, blah, blah. I didn't eat. I ate too early. But get out of here. I don't want to hear. He just went out too quick. The adrenaline came to him. It's just not a good matchup for Sterling, in my opinion. When I think his only path, if this goes all 5 rounds, Jan wins on the judges' scorecards. The only path for Sterling, and like I said, in my opinion, is to catch him with a choke. That's the only path. Is it possible? Sure. It's just the odds are low, right? So the killer Jan, he said he's going to kill him this time. I don't put it behind him. I can see him knocking him out in this fight. The minus 500, I get it. We saw what happened in the first fight. Jan probably was going to get the finish late in that fight. Maybe Sterling lasted and just got beat up for another round or two. But, yeah, I don't see this fight playing out any different, guys. I just don't see it, right? I think like I mentioned, Sterling did take him down once in that fight. But look at the accuracy numbers here. Look at the accuracy numbers, right? Takedown accuracy 24%. Even though we see Sterling, he is in a better shape. He has looked really good. But if you look at Jan's photo, if you have it on Instagram, wow. Just as good as Sterling in the shape category. Obviously, these guys are 135, so they're ripped to a bone, ripped to a T, probably not 0% body fat, but very low body fat, right? Now, he is saying he's looking great, Sterling. He has looked great in training, some training videos I've saw. And, this could be his best shape that he's been in a long time. It's just not going to be, it's not going to be good enough to beat Jan, in my opinion. Jan has been back in Thailand training for this one. I know previously due to COVID, there were some shutdown issues there, and he wasn't able to. But he got a nice 3-month camp over there in Thailand. That's where he's comfortable. That's where he has been training. So I look for him to even be better in this fight, if that's possible. Looking at an outcome here is where you have to try to find some value instead of trying to lay this minus 500 line, right? And, I wouldn't be shocked if it went all 5 rounds, of course. It is the favorite to go all 5 rounds. And, I don't see Jan losing this fight unless it's by submission, and it's just not happening. My favorite play in this fight is probably the over 2.5 rounds. I can see if Jan gets a finish, it'll probably be a little later in the fight. Right? I think it'll be a little later on the fight when he wears down Sterling. But I can also see a unanimous 5-round decision here. It's tough. It's tough, guys. I'm going to say Jan gets a late finish in this fight. I haven't bet it as of yet. Obviously, I like Jan on the money line, but it's very difficult to bet that. But I do think Jan, he hates this guy. He hates Sterling, right? Like, going into this fight, going into the first fight, he really didn't hate him that much. But now, after everything that happened, Jan hates this guy. Jan hates this guy. So I think he finds a finish somehow. He catches Sterling. Maybe possibly like a TKO finish as well. But that's the way I'm going to look if I had to bet the outcome here. But yeah, Jan gets it done, gets that title, and I think he's going to hold it for quite some time. Another fun one here, guys. Chimaev minus 500 versus Burns plus 380. More disrespect here. Same line as the Sterling and Jan fight. Obviously, guys, things could have changed, but it's similar lines here. Keep in mind the books are always changing, so shop around for best price. Another crazy line, and the books are trying to price you out of this fight again. If you like Chimaev, you're not minus 500. Wow. And even if you like him to win by finish, which, I think that's probably his path, it's minus 160. I've never laid a minus 160 on an outcome before. And I don't know if I'm going to do it here, guys. No value here on the favorites in this whole, the whole card. There's no value here on the favorites. It's going to be rough laying that price. Burns, was one of the few to raise his hand to fight Chimaev. He wants to fight Chimaev. He'll fight anybody. Respect to Burns, right? And if he does beat him, huge. Stop that, energy around Chimaev. Stop that hype around Chimaev. Burns could be the guy. And I do think he has some tools to do it, right? He does have some tools to get his hand raised. It's just tough to say how Chimaev's opponents and how good he really is due to his opponents that he fought, right? I've been watching Burns' training camp. He is training like an animal. I saw the last one that that MMA Junkie posted. Wow, I got tired of watching it, guys, and I do train myself. He'll be in great shape for this one. I know Chimaev also will, but I think this is Burns' best shape. I think this is the best shape he's coming into a fight, and he's going to have to be in the best shape to grapple or last. It's only 3 rounds, yes, but to fight Chimaev and to beat Chimaev, you have to be in top-notch shape because Chimaev will be coming into that fight in top shape as well. Remember, Chimaev only 10-0 in the MMA, 4-0 in the UFC. His first 2 wins shouldn't matter much, right? Phillips and McKee, 0 wrestling. He just dominated them on the ground. Then he went to Mershard, a bit of a step up, a veteran. But, Mershard was just so worried about the takedowns. He got caught with a right? He got caught with a right. And then he got the step up. With the Chinese fighter, Jiling, and, he just dominated him in the wrestling, right? He dominated him in the wrestling. He has no wrestling, that guy. Very dangerous and explosive on the feet, but he has no wrestling, and Chimaev just dominated him there. I personally just don't think Chimaev's going to be able to run through Burns like he did in any of those fights that I just mentioned. Let's say Chimaev Chimaev is the better wrestler, no doubt about that. Feet, I think it's similar to the same. I think both guys have power in the right hand. Burns showed it against Usman, dropped Usman in the first round. You don't see Usman getting dropped. Burns has power. Maybe not more of a, he's not a technical striker, but he throws big shots. And if he catches you, he can hurt you. Right? Burns can hurt you if he catches you. And he's improving his striking time and time again. So I think on the feet, it's fairly similar. So I do think Chimaev's going to go to the wrestling and try to get him down. But Burns can work off his back as good as anybody. Right? His BJJ is very high level. One of the better in the UFC. He's a champion. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion, right? So if this gets to the ground, it's going to be very interesting to see if Chimaev can keep him there. That's what I'm very interested to see in this fight. You know, I think that's his path. Keep him on the ground, ground and pound him, don't let him get up. You know, Burns just gets out wrestles and loses the fight. I can definitely see, that's my path that I can see happening out of all paths in this fight. Now, Burns is going to be trying to do everything off his back. He's going to try to be submitting him. He's going to be trying to work it off his back, which is going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be very interesting to see if Burns can catch him in a submission, which I think is his path to victory, right? Because Chimaev's going to get the takedowns. He's going to get the takedowns. He's going to score points there. I think striking's fairly similar on the feet. Chimaev has been training a lot on the feet as well. You obviously had Dern Till in there to help him train on the feet. We know Till is a great striker. So this fight, I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to stay away from it because I don't like the prices. Like, I can't take Chimaev by decision, even though it's a great price. That's the only way I could look here. I can't lay minus 160 or even climbing on Chimaev to finish the fight. So this fight, I'm just going to watch, wait and see if Chimaev is that guy for the next title shot. Like, if Chimaev just goes through Burns like he did in his previous opponents, you got to give this guy the title shot next after the Edwards-Usman fight. You have to, right? Burns he fought for a title. He's one of the best guys in the world. If he just goes through Burns like nothing, hey, you got to give this guy the title shot. So I can't wait to watch this one. I think he wins, Chimaev. I just can't lay the price due to the sports books, you know, betting me out of this fight. Dern minus 120 versus Torres plus 110. Sorry, plus 100. I think there's some 110s out there now. I think it's about even. And I agree. This fight's a coin flip. I won't make my cards. But, you know, I think it's going to be a close fight. I do think it probably goes to the judges here. You know, when Dern stepped up in competition versus Rodriguez, she was humbled, right? She lost that fight in 5 rounds on the feet. Pretty much lost all rounds. Rodriguez improved her takedown defense and just pieced her up for 5 rounds, right? Dern's striking is an issue. The problem with Dern, right, her takedown, she doesn't have any takedowns. Like, she doesn't have any takedown skills, in my opinion. Not a great wrestler. If she gets you to the ground, her grappling is outstanding and one of the best in the women's, across all divisions, not even just this division. She is very high level on the ground. If she can somehow get this fight to the ground, she could submit Torres. However, I think it's going to be very difficult to get her down. Torres is a rock solid. Her takedown defense is decent. You know, if you're a pure wrestler, you can take down Torres, but Dern isn't. So if Dern's been working on that, maybe she surprises, get Torres down and gets the submission. But if this fight stays on the feet, Torres wins. Torres wins this fight. I can also see Torres doing maybe some damage on her own, you know, against the cage, some grappling. I think she'll be the stronger girl in there. But I don't know if Torres wants to try to take her down because she is so dangerous with that submission game. So Torres' game plan will be keep it on the feet and outstrike her. That's going to be your game plan. And if you're giving me plus money with Torres, I'm going to say she does that and wins this fight. She's fought the much better competition in the UFC. She's similar to Dern. When she stepped up in competition, she lost. But look who she stepped up against. Andrade, Joanna, Zhang, Rodriguez. It's the best of the best, right? And she lost all those fights. But she's on a 3-fight win streak. She has some momentum now. If you're giving me plus money, I lean her. However, this fight's not going to make my client card, guys. It is technically a flip of a coin. We're opening up the pay-per-view, apparently with Pichel minus 35 versus Madsen plus 115. I'll talk about this fight even if it doesn't. This was supposed to be the Gastelum fight. right? It's supposed to be the Gastelum fight to open up the main card. He had to back out due to an injury, and then I heard Oleinik was going to be here, but this is the right one. This should be a good grappling fight, or just a good competitive fight in general. So we'll quickly go over this one. You know, either way, I think this should be on the main card, this fight. I think it should be a good one. I think it should be very competitive. And it's going to be Madsen's toughest test yet. The Olympian is, you know, he's Olympian for a reason, one of the best wrestlers in the UFC. Pachelka wrestle as well. He has a good takedown numbers here as well at 3.29, and then you see Madsen do at 4.33. So it's going to be interesting to see if the wrestling's wiped out and they just strike. That's going to be interesting. Then, you know, I probably would favor Pachelka on the feet. However, Madsen should be able to exploit this Pachelka takedown defense. 25% takedown defense, guys. So I think Madsen will bring him there. Will Pachelka be able to work his way up is the question, because he does have some good wrestling as well, right? He does have some good wrestling as well. I love Pachelka. He's a guy that fights for your money. Very tough, durable guy. I just think Madsen, there's value here at plus 115. Definitely some value there at plus 115. And if Madsen just continues to work that wrestling and get takedowns after takedowns, I think he wins that fight. And he has been improving his striking. We saw in his last fight he struck some more. And I do think he has improved, but I think Pachelka could hurt Madsen on the feet. So Madsen's going to want to take this fight down to the ground. So if I was betting this fight, I would have to take Madsen, and I would take Madsen by decision. But a good look, maybe this fight to go all 3 rounds. Both guys are tough. Both guys probably will grapple and wrestle. And if it does stay on the feet, I don't see any knockout power from either guy. If Pachelka catches Madsen, Madsen's going to go right down for the takedowns, I feel like, and not strike with him. That will do it, guys. That will do it for UFC 273's card. I'm excited for this card, especially the 3 main fights, right? The 3 main fights. Very excited to see what happens there, see if a dog does come through. If you lasted this long in the video, you know, the dog that I think can come through most, it's going to have to be between, obviously, Sterling or Burns. And, you know, it's a flip of a coin. It's just hard to get in front of either one of those guys right now. But it's going to be between Sterling and Burns. If you're putting a little unit play on them, I don't blame you. You never know what happens. It is a fight at the end of the day. And I do think all 3 of these fights, they're overpriced. Even though I do think all 3 should be favored at a high price. All right, guys, that will do it. I will see you guys next week. Thanks for the support. Like the video, it does help me out a lot. And until next week, I will see you guys. Like I always say, bet smart and learn the limits. Take care.